It's in the game.
Need another life, give me a break. Need another life, oh, need another life, give me a break. Need another life,
Arsenal needed a response after a shot lost to Brentford that shook up the title race, and today's situations are falling into their lap. They're up against Ipswich Town, who are one of the favourites to go down, and Alexander Isak is hungry for more goals as he chases down that record set by Haaland. Well, Arsenal need a response this afternoon after a shock loss to Brentford, which shook up the title race just that little bit more now, as it made City close the gap. This is a game where Arsenal need a response. A favourable matchup against Ipswich Town, which sadly look like one of the favourites to sadly go down, although they are in the zone where they could possibly get out. They've had a very tough first year back in the Premier League under Kieran McKenna. Let's give him credit though. He's had a lot to work with and he's done a very admirable job. But it looks like two of the three teams that came up could be sadly going back down, if not all three of them actually. I think Wolves probably are the surprise. But a very interesting choice by Mikel Arteta today. So confident is his team will get a result because they need a bounce-back result that Daniel Jennings actually makes his Premier League debut this afternoon in place of David Raya. But keep in mind that Arsenal have that crucial first leg against Real Madrid coming up. So that could be telling for some of it. Let's have a look at Kieran McKenna's side for this afternoon. Lamvat has got a tough job in front of him this afternoon in goal. And Connor Chapman, the captain, and Hamidi will try and get some goals. Calvin Phillips is an interesting name on the Ipswich bench team today. So as we said, Daniel Jennings makes his Premier League debut for Arsenal in goal. It's White, Timber, Calvori and Van Dongen today, with Jackie Francis, Charlie Patino and Fabio Vieira. Ethan Monieri is making a start today, and either side of Isak is him and Raheem Sterling. Getting a rare start for Arsenal today. Well, Isak currently sitting on 29 goals and counting. Just 7 now behind Erling Haaland's record of 36. Will he get another big tally towards that today? Yeah, I'd almost bet for it, really. But Arsenal, following on from Brentford, need to keep the results coming in. It was really a strange result, to be fair. It's not that Arsenal were bad. It was just Brentford had the slice of luck, really, when it came to David Raya being out of position to deal with the rebound from Weezer. But to be fair, it was a spectacular save that he pulled against Ivan Toney's overhead kick that started it all. But what an interesting day for Daniel Jennings, making his Premier League debut today. Coming off a very good, strong performance against Celtic. And he saved that one as well. Well, when Daniel Jennings made that sort of save against Celtic, he went on to keep a clean sheet. His only one of his career so far in his only game up to now. But it was a Champions League clean sheet to his name as well. And he's looking for his first Premier League one. And he might get it today. With saves like that, it certainly does look likely. Here's Taylor and Hamidi in off the post. And Arsenal living dangerously. And Ben White didn't clear it either. Van Dongen has to come in and clean that one up. And he has cleared it up. Johnson heads back to full suspended. And Arsenal living dangerously here. Jennings had no chance with the second shot there. That rebounded off the post. And that's exactly what Arsenal didn't need. An early scare here. And Fabio Vieira has gone down. And it's going to be a booking at the very least for Ipswich Town. It certainly is. An early booking for Jack Taylor. For Val and Vieira, a very needless challenge, to be fair. He's probably lucky not to be sent off, to be honest with you. It's a very needless challenge. He was never getting the ball. Timber's a lot further forward than we're used to seeing him. But he has picked out Sterling. Starting with the ball when it almost ended up towards Isak. It was a good header away, to be fair, by Wolfswinton, I think it was. And here's Broadhead. Townsend to Calvin Phillips, formerly of Manchester City. Bournemouth have taken the lead against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. They lead by a goal to nil. Broadhead into the box. And Jennings almost got there, to be fair. Well, I think the youngster had it covered. Oh, he would have been with his fingertips. That would have been a stunning save for Jennings, to be fair. He's really doing well. He's only had one game, but he already put his name on everyone's lips with a Champions League clean sheet in a very good performance against Celtic in the league phase. At the other end, Alexander Isak currently on 29 league goals and almost 50 for the entire season. The guy's had a breakout year, no doubt about it. And it looks like he's finally fitting into the system well. He had a bit of a slow start. Or slow by his standards anyway. But since then, he's just come alive. And Jennings was actually able to find Isak with that. And now here's Patino. And he's gone past the challenge. And look how much space he has. Charlie Patino here. He has to pick out Isak. He goes alone there. He probably, you could argue, maybe should have picked out Isak. He hit the wrong part of the ball there. Wasn't too far off, to be fair to him, though. But he would have been much better at picking out Isak a lot earlier than shooting the ball. Kind of bit off a bit more than he could chew there. Charlie Patino, though, has made some very high number of starts for a player of his age. Well, as they say, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And Charlie Patino has certainly been a very decent young player. A lot of decent young players in this Arsenal side. Yeri, Jennings, Jack Henry Francis, and Charlie Patino, just to name a few. Arsenal's young core is very impressive looking. Can't say impressive as a whole yet, because they're not even the finished product. But even now, they've done very, very well for themselves. Even Yeri, a lot of people singing their praises about this kid. Didn't really cover himself with glory there. He lost the ball. Here's Al Hamidi, and White clears it up. So certainly not Arsenal's first unit today. You can probably understand why. It is on the form book. This should be an Arsenal victory. I think it's first against 18th, is it? Meanwhile, João Pedro has scored for Brighton. They are one goal ahead of Brentford now. So they're high from the Arsenal game. And the Emirates is not carried over so far. Taylor gets kind of pushed by Henry Francis a little. And he forced the throw-in. Jack Henry Francis exploding onto the scene with a goal against Manchester United. And you cannot be really surprised, but that would put your name in the lights. But Henry Francis has kind of calmed down a bit since then. But to be fair, he has got to get ahead of the likes of Odegaard and Declan Rice, just to name a couple. And obviously, Romero has come in as well. But on the times he has appeared, Jack Henry Francis has certainly made a name for himself. Patino absolutely fighting tooth and claw for the ball, but Ipswich come away with it instead. And Calvori clears that one up. And Dongan, another young player in the Arsenal lineup. Hamady here with a lot of space. And it's over Jennings and over the bar. Again, Jennings probably would have had that covered, you know. His positioning has been really decent. He really knows how to position himself. I guess being under the tutelage of David Raya would help you when you're a young goalkeeper like he is. And he was rather forced into the lineup to some degree after Bournemouth, strangely, recalled Roberto Neto from his loan. But it doesn't. I don't think he's played ever since. So I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. It has freed up a loan spot for Arsenal, though. But they decided not to use it and buy Gyökeres and Euro instead. And that's worked out. Here's Isak. Air of inevitability, 1-0. It was never in doubt. Goal number 30 for Alexander Isak. 6 away from Erling Haaland's record. He looks on track to beat it well before the season's over at this rate. Another simple yet stunning goal in the Arsenal career of Alexander Isak. He has done everything in one season that some people probably wouldn't even do in 5 or 6. Let's hope he hasn't peaked too early. We have to hope that, to be fair. Well, Arsenal already won up against Ipswich Town. I guess the form book is telling. But it's not just that. In the terms of the table, it's just the teams overall. Arsenal have been absolutely stellar all season long. They've had a few blips in the road, but every team does. It's how you respond that's always vital. And every time Arsenal have had somewhat of a setback, they've responded with a win and with a result. Oh, Van Dongen didn't do very well there. Can Ipswich make a chance of this? Calvori's been wrong-footed, and Daniel Jennings makes a good save. I'll give credit to Jennings. He is doing very well right now. Whatever happens this afternoon, Daniel Jennings is certainly making a good early impression in this game. Well, the rise of so many young players at Arsenal is really going to help them when it comes to the transfer windows in the future. Because right now, I would say Arsenal are pretty stacked and pretty set for probably a couple more titles if they can win it from here. But we all know the likes of City will improve. Manchester United just have to. Who knows where they'll be next season? No one really knows at the moment. One thing's for certain. They're not winning anything this year. We hope Ruben Almiron can figure it out, but it's going to take it a while, I think. Especially with a lot of when the clearing out needs to be done. Now, it's an interesting scoreline. Leicester and Liverpool are playing each other to a 1-1 draw right now. And I think it was Leicester that scored. And of course, we've got we're approaching the final games of Jamie Vardy's career for the season. Announcing retirement. I don't know whether that'll be actually a permanent thing or whether he'll go somewhere else. Normally when you announce retirement, you can be pretty much done, but sometimes you can be pulled out of retirement. Just ask Paul Scholes. It worked for him. Went to win a league title coming out of it. But very more often than not, retirement is retirement. Of course, if you're Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, you're still going, which is quite remarkable. Well, definitely in Ronaldo's case. I think Messi still plays. I think he's in the MLS, isn't he? Playing for Miami, I think it is. I could be wrong. But just tackles Isak. Well, it's been a very even game apart from the scoreline right now. Leicester certainly Ipswich certainly making a game of this at the moment. I got Leicester and Ipswich confused there for a moment. Here's our ball call, and Jennings saves again. Wow. A phenomenal game yet again from young Daniel Jennings. Got very good positional awareness. He's really impressing me right now. Definitely one for Arsenal's future, that's for sure. And Burgess and Jennings again is there. And here's Broadhead now. And he saves again. And Broadhead and Jennings got there again. Oh my word. I don't think he knew anything about the second attempt, but then he gathered it up afterwards. Wolves have scored against Manchester United. We spoke of them just a moment ago. Well, wow. It really isn't going right for Manchester United and Ruben Alvarez at the moment. And they had to sack Erik ten Hag early in the season, and that new manager bounce isn't happening. It proves that the problems at Manchester United are much more than a manager now, and they need to, Ineos and the Glazers need to stick with their choice, because if there's anything Manchester United has proved this season, is the new manager bounce doesn't always happen, and it proves that the problems are deeper than the manager. And for Manchester United, that has been most certainly the case for some time. And hopefully this is the light on that they need. That the squad is, well, not the issue per se. The players aren't really strong enough to even be in the top 10, let alone anywhere else. And a lot of players coming to the end of their contracts and careers. Christian Eriksen probably hasn't got that long left in his career. He's been around for ages, and of course he had that health scare in the international tournament as well. And I tell you something, not to discredit Christian Eriksen, because his comeback from that has been absolutely remarkable, to be fair. So you've got to give Christian Eriksen credit for coming back as well as he has from that health scare. And the outpouring of unity and best wishes for him has been nothing short of wonderful to see. Isak, it's just a shame, but his Manchester United second stint isn't really working out too well for him at the moment. And speaking of Manchester United, there's Lenny Yoro. A Manchester United player for no more than 5 months before Mikel Arteta just brought him in. And you have to wonder whether that selling from Ruben Amorim was part of a clear-out that's going to be an absolute mass clear-out by the beginning of the summer window. We'll have to wait and see. But here today at Ipswich Town Stadium, I'm not sure what it's called, I can't remember, but Alexander Isak has got another goal to his already impressive-looking tally for the season. 30 for the league, 6 behind Erling Haaland now. And it's been an even game, but Daniel Jennings once again has been a talking point. But Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. Welcome back to Ipswich, and Ipswich Town are taking on Arsenal today. And Arsenal are up by a goal to nil with another goal for Alexander Isak. But the talking point of the first half was certainly young Daniel Jennings, getting his first Premier League start today, and has done a very good job indeed of keeping Ipswich out, because the game has been relatively even aside from the scoreline. But Jennings has made this game all about him, most likely, because of his splendid saves. And even when the ones that have been missed by Ipswich, you feel that James would have had them covered anyway. Even Monieri is making a bloody run into the box. Good save by Manford. Very good save. And Monieri was just bursting into the box there, and no one could stop him. And that's a good run for the youngster. Arsenal's young players have been, as we said earlier in the first half, really have been a lot of decent young players this year for Arsenal. Their academy is certainly stacked. And West Ham has scored against Southampton. I'm not sure who that is. I'm not sure if that's a bug or something else. But West Ham have scored. I just don't really know who the scorer is right now. I'll have to try and find that out for you. Mohamedi to Broadhead and intercepted by Jack Henry Francis. Sterling. Well, Raheem Sterling hasn't had all that many starts for Arsenal, but he's played in a lot of games. But apart from a few goals, he's been relatively non-existent. But that's not really at the fault of him. It's just how well his his teammates have been doing. In particular, Alexander Isak. And here's Wanyeri, and he's got a goal. Young Ethan Wanyeri with another. And he scored already this season. He just wants to make sure of it. You can blame him. Rather long in his extravagant celebration. And in any case, Ethan Wanyeri gets another. He scored already this season. And well, if there's one man that people are singing their praises about, it's Ethan Wanyeri. It's a great shot under pressure as well. He was actually brought down afterwards and still had the wherewithal and control to put the ball into the back of the net and put Arsenal up by 2-0. Well, it's been a very good game for Arsenal here. They've weathered the storm well and responded well to the loss against Brentford, which was a surprise loss by all accounts, to be fair. And here's Ipswich trying to get an instant response. Kieran Tierney loses the ball. The ball is everywhere. The referee is stopped for offside, apparently. Let's see. Well, the player is offside here. So against the rules, well, not against the rules, in conjunction with the rules, that is correctly given. Even if it was a bit of a clumsy-looking period of play there by everybody involved. Kieran Tierney not really showing his head up in lights there, to be fair. And Arsenal get away with a bit of a scare there. Jumping into Taylor. And Francis with another good tackle. And Sterling still possessing some pace here today. Sterling with the ball in. And aerial balls have been Arsenal's one of their problems. They've kind of shied away from it over the course of the year. Now here's a kid coming on, which is grabbing the headlines from all teams. Delap, very much a transfer target, particularly towards Manchester United for the moment. Probably going to be one of Roman's first signings by all accounts. If Ipswich do go down, which would be very sad to see, and Delap could be called upon somewhere else. Here's Wanyeri. Wanyeri's at it again. And he's going to try and pick out Isak this time. The font is there to gather it up. Here's Broadhead and here's Townsend. Chaplin. Broadhead, great back heel. Delap on as a substitute and scores. And it's a good goal. And it puts Ipswich back in the game. Well, the kid's been sought after by a lot of teams, if you believe the rumours. A good goal. Unfortunate. Oh, and Daniel Jennings, he's unlucky. He just missed out on it. Well, sadly, there's no Premier League clean sheet for Daniel Jennings, but it's not that he hasn't had a good game at all. He's had a splendid game, and he's really unlucky there. It's a good strike by Delap. Once again, when Arsenal do concede, it is through very good goals. Now it puts Ipswich back in the game. Delap already doing a crunchy challenge on Vieira there. And that could have so easily been a booking for him. As soon as he scored, he'd gone into the referee's book, but he's avoided that for now. Oh, what an absolute heartbreaker for Daniel Jennings. He's had a very good game, but to be fair, that goal's not at the fault of him at all. It's just a very good strike by Delap, and he was very unlucky not to reach, to be fair. It's a very good goal. Arsenal maybe just need another one just to weather the storm a bit here. They could get it with Patino. But again, he doesn't pick out Isak. But I think Isak was offside at the point he played the ball. So maybe Patino was that was the only option he'd had without giving him such a free kick per se. Here is Ben White. Wanyeri. Here's Patino. Poor pass. Taylor intercepts now. Here goes the lap again. Ipswich starting to get into this game a bit now. Would head back to the lap. Already got a lot of options. He goes alone. Calvori is equal to it this time. And forces it out for an Ipswich corner. And Broadhead is actually coming off for Hutchinson here. Daniel Jennings inherited the number after Norberto Neto was recalled back to Bournemouth. And he's done very well. It's just a very sad shame that that goes against him, that conceded goal. But Southampton and West Ham 1-1. It's a bit of a... and that's wide. It's a bit of a interesting scoreline, considering Southampton are in the relegation scrap with Ipswich and Wolves at the moment. Wolves look the favourites to go down probably before the season's over. P19 or position 19, which I believe is Ipswich, could then follow. But for 18th, it might be a bit of a scrap. But I think with every passing week, David Moyes is performing miracles at Everton right now, because he could be the man to save them in their final year at Goodison Park. And that's a feel-good story for the league. And another one would be Arsenal winning it. And of course, Arsenal do have that FA Cup draw against Fulham coming up, which I believe might be the next match, actually. Either that or their tie with Real Madrid, which is why their kind of second unit is out here today. Well, everyone bar Isak anyway. Here's the lap again, and Jennings makes another good save. He has been splendid this afternoon. Deserves a clean sheet to his name. But even if he doesn't get it, or even though he won't get it, he's done very well. And he's going to save again as well. Great take by Jennings. Really, really impressive. That is an impressive young man. He's done very well. That clean sheet against Celtic was no fluke. He is very good. And he will play definitely a good backup role to David Raya next season. Arteta has got a very, very bright future in this team at the moment. And some more load management for Mikel Arteta. A couple of substitutions, although it's not really load management because it's his big unit that's out there today. But I think Hoevaven is warming up. And so is Jakub Kiewor as well. He's looking to come on as well at the next stoppage of play. Here's Ben White with a lot more space than he thought. Wanyeri's coming in. Now will he get another? It's another mazy run by Wanyeri, but unfortunately he's closed off. That time, Ipswich were kind of aware of it. Here's Jack Taylor, who went in the book earlier. He's done very well to avoid a red card. It was a bit of a needless challenge in the first place to get himself booked, really. Well, Arsenal 9 minutes away from a bounce-back win that they need desperately. They can thank Daniel Jennings for it to some degree. Hutchinson. And Jennings gathers it again. Took a deflection. Daniel Jennings has been very good positional-wise. He's been very good positions all game long, even with the goal. It could have reached him. It was a thunderous shot by Delap. Wolves read him with a great tackle there. On Petito, I think it was. Oh. Yeah, Arteta's just warmed up, but we've only got 5 minutes left now. I don't know if they'll be coming on at any point. It'd be rather funny. Crystal Palace and Bournemouth still 1-1. I assume there has been a sending off in that game. Normally when there's no other goal to speak of, it's normally for a red card. So someone has been sent off in that game. So it's not just our coverage, it is elsewhere that we get red cards. It's just that we've missed most of them this year. Vieira. Kieran Tierney is a lot further forward here. Wolfe then clears it. And there's a stoppage in play. Now, no substitute bug like we had earlier in the season. Vieira, I think it's Sterling that's going off, and Ben White as well for Keywar. That's coming on. Verhaven's coming on as well. I'm not sure who the third person is. I'll get in a second with the overlay. Oh, it's Moreno. Moreno's actually come on for Vieira as well. So he's been out for a while, so he'll get a bit of a run around to end today as he tries to get back to full fitness after an injury. Verhaven with a good ball in, but unfortunately no Arsenal shirt there to meet it. But it was a good ball regardless. Well, it's been a definite back and forth game. Not the most entertaining game of football, even with a 2-1 scoreline, as all the goals were done earlier. But definitely a highlight afternoon for Daniel Jennings, who's done very well in goal for Arsenal today. In David Raya's place, with more important games coming up for them, so much as the FA Cup tie against Fulham, and then obviously the Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. It's going to David Raya a bit of a rest. And he's done very well in his place this afternoon. Clean sheet worthy, but the goal by Delat was very well taken. And it was a good goal. Isak gets his 30th of the season. Wanyeri gets another one in his young career. Keep an eye on that in the future. But Arsenal's future as a whole, it really is bright looking in terms of the talent they have. And I think if Mikel Arteta achieves anything this season, and that isn't a trophy, which looks very unlikely right now, but you never know. If there's one thing he has done, it's definitely showed that Arsenal have a bright future with all these young players that have done particularly well. Wanyeri is a superstar caliber talent. He's not there yet, of course. But Daniel Jennings certainly has thrown his hat into the ring as well. It's a squad today that was the B unit, but there's a lot of young players that could be talked about in Arsenal's future in a very positive way if they keep like this. A lot of names, maybe, in Arsenal's future that could be stars here. But today, Alexander Isak gets goal 30 as he closes in on that record from Erling Haaland. You wouldn't bet against him beating it, with still plenty of Premier League games left to be played, and Arsenal need to keep winning to keep the pressure on City and hope they drop a couple of points somewhere. They've done well today, winning by 2-1. Let's have a look at all the scores for today, and Manchester City are tied with points on Arsenal. We'll explain why in a moment, but they beat Everton 3-1 today, which come harm Everton's relegation get away a little bit. Wolves won against Manchester United, who were bottom of the table. That just emphasises Manchester United's struggles this season. West Ham beat Southampton by 2-1 in the end. Chelsea won 3-0. Forest won 1-0 against Spurs. Surprisingly, Newcastle win again. And Brighton beat Brentford by 1-0. Another score coming in is Bournemouth beating Crystal Palace. I think there was a couple more left. Leicester 2, Liverpool 2, and Fulham 2, Spurs 2 as well. Now, Manchester City then won a game in hand over Brighton. That's why they're level. Liverpool then drew 2-2 with Aston Villa, strangely enough. So the last two games were 2-2. So, because of that game in hand, Premier League table is now all even with 5 games left to play. It is all tied up. Oh boy. Newcastle United 11 points behind and seemingly out of any further advance, but they are 10 points clear of Chelsea and look safe in third. Liverpool 5th. Spurs down to 6th as their Champions League hopes took a blow. In fact, they could most likely be out of it now. But you never know. Bournemouth 7th and Brentford 8th, and they look consolidatory places. They're going to finish in the top 10 almost no matter what you'd feel. Out of West Ham and Brighton, Aston Villa. What has happened to Aston Villa? It's so bizarre seeing them only down in 11th place considering last season. What a bit of a drop-off. That's unfortunate, really. Fulham, Manchester United. Palace 14th, Everton 15th, and on 29 points with 5 games left. They've actually got a game in hand over most of the relegation battlers, so that could be a vital game in itself. Forest, Leicester City, And then, of course, Ipswich, Southampton and Wolves all in the bottom three. And I think that might be the final bottom three, looking at it and the amount of points. Maybe Southampton have a chance, but for Ipswich and Wolves, I think it's looking pretty much over for their year in the Premier League.